everyone, it's Jack and Ross back again for the second news video of the day. Ross, you described that off camera that you're wearing there, that lovely outfit, as a shacket.
It's not a shirt, Jack. It's not a jacket. It's a shacket. It's the future. Because why should you decide what you have to wear every single day down to the minute detail when you just put a shacket on? Is it a shirt? Is it a jacket? Who knows? I mean, I know because I'm wearing it. It's basically a denim jacket.
I'll tell you what, when I popped out of the shop before, and it was a weird. It was like, I can't just go on a t-shirt. It's a bit too cold for that. But I don't want to wear a heavy jacket as well. And it sounds like what I needed really was a shacket for that nice middle layer.
Well, get yourself to H&M because that's where the shackets live.
This video is sponsored by Shacket. No, it's
Cultaholic Wrestling, brought to you by Shackets. Because why should you decide whether to wear a shirt or a coat? I messed that up. Oh.
No. It's good. It was good. I'll do the headlines. First up, we take a look at the developing story of major backstage heat on Velveteen Dream. As well as that, in unfortunate news, Buff Bagwell has been arrested. And finally, a title match has been added to the upcoming Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. So yes, first of all, it's another controversial story regarding Velveteen Dream, so we're just going to give you the facts and what's happened and then move on to the next story. So, Velveteen Dream was obviously released recently by WWE and has taken to Instagram this week to defend himself. He addressed the allegations made against him in his Instagram story, which was quite a long one as well. It's out there if you want to give it a read. But basically, he denied all wrongdoing and defended himself. But then more things emerged regarding perhaps reasons that he was released by WWE separate from the allegations made against him. This comes courtesy of the Wrestling Observer, where Brian Alvarez had some things to say. So he said that Brian Alvarez believes that WWE released Velveteen Dream because of other things. He said, I believe that WWE believes that Velveteen Dream was innocent because otherwise they would have gotten rid of that guy very quickly. The thing that I, Brian Alvarez, heard over and over again about Velveteen was that he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way and it had nothing to do with the accusations. What I heard over and over was that this guy, when he talks about his Velveteen Dream character and he talks about blending it with his real life, I heard about him in the same way as Shawn Michaels becoming the HBK character in real life. In the 90s, of course, when Michaels was a very controversial backstage figure. I don't think it's in the quote we've got here, but Alvarez also alluded to rumours that he kept getting into car crashes as well. Just a very troubling theme, I suppose. Not the sort of thing that should be happening regularly at all. And then Alvarez delved more into specific reasons why Velveteen Dream might have been getting heat backstage, saying things like going to shows and not talking to anybody, being aloof, really rubbing people the wrong way. The point of all of this is the impression that I was given from talking to people is to forget the accusations because this guy was on his way to self-destructing and probably getting fired one way or the other very, very quickly. What I believe is that was largely the reason the Velveteen Dream ended up being cut from WWE was this. He's saying that these accusations played into it. I don't know how. I don't know any more details. So he's implying that Velveteen Dream's lying about the accusations being a reason that his career was effectively torpedoed and that it was other things going on. And that he was heading for the exit one way or another is what Alvarez is essentially saying. He goes on to say, that's what he's saying here, but this stuff he says about playing the character and living the character, I hear a lot about that and it was not positive. There were a lot of problems with him and other people, and as noted, a lot of people didn't like it, but they were concerned because he was in tight with people at the top, so they didn't feel comfortable going to management about it. But those things that they didn't feel comfortable going to management about had nothing to do with the accusations. It was a separate deal. So it sounds like two completely separate things. One, of course, a lot more serious than the other, obviously, which both kind of spelled out his exit. But Alvarez here is implying that it was more the other stuff that was why WWE let him go. We're not really going to comment on that because we don't really know what's going on. Yeah, of course. But that's what Alvarez has been saying, and you can find that on the Wrestling Observer. You can find what Velveteen Dream had to say on his Instagram, and we'll just move on to the next story because it's just heavy, isn't it? It's just quite a lot. It's bad news as well, unfortunately. Moving over to New Japan Pro Wrestling, Kazuchika Okada has tested positive for COVID-19, as well as Taichi as well, two key members of the of the heavyweight division, of course. They both revealed that they tested positive for COVID-19, and Tokyo Sports reported that Okada confirmed in a recent interview that he had tested positive. He also said that he felt sick and had lost his sense of taste, but it has since returned. Taichi confirmed to Tokyo Sports that he also tested positive. He appeared on Road to Wrestle Grand Slam via video link and said he had a high fever but is recovering now. Obviously, first of all, we hope they both have a very quick recovery, obviously. And also, I found it weird that they've been so open about this in this specific instance, because as far as I can tell, New Japan were never really this... They were similar to WWE in that, they kind of didn't overly allude to people testing positive for COVID. They just kind of kept that quiet. This might represent a bit of a change of policy, but do you think that's strange? I think
it's the right thing to do, is to let people know, and because these, especially people like Okada, people look up to him as a big role model. He's a big star over in Japan and worldwide as well. So when people say he's got COVID, they'll think, oh, it's still here. Let's keep our masks on, keep our distance and all that stuff. So if they make it public, I can only think it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's kind of similar maybe to what WWE did with when Drew McIntyre tested positive.
Yeah.
Because at the time he was the top babyface, so maybe they thought, right, in this case we've got to, with permission from the wrestlers in question, of course. I think I agree with you, it can only be a good thing. The consequences of this are that Okada was pulled from the second night of Wrestling Dontaku on May 4th, when 2 participants in a match he took part in the night prior had fevers. He and others involved in that match were removed from the second night's card, and New Japan later announced that 9 people had tested positive, causing the company to cancel their shows through to May 22nd, and since then they have resumed their schedule. But it's a bit of a time of upheaval for New Japan. It's all going a bit wrong for them at the moment, not the easiest time. Obviously, Will Ospreay has vacated the belt, reportedly due to injury, but there was other theories flying around that...
this morning, Jack, he put an X-ray of, I think it was his neck or his spine on Twitter, and so if that means anything, I don't know.
Fair enough, it could well be legitimate then. Rev Pro have not stripped him of their heavyweight title, but they are saying that it's a different situation because obviously they've not... he wrestles for them on a far less intense schedule. But there were rumours flying around last week as well that there's some kind of potential, and again this is all speculation, this isn't what we've actually heard, that there's some kind of what kind of word do I want to use, dissent backstage amongst the non-Japanese guys because of the way that New Japan have just kind of ploughed ahead with scheduling. I mean, they've been really putting on a lot of shows compared to other promotions, I think, and it's a bit of a dangerous game.
It must be tough as well when you're not over there full time, as so many of these sort of foreigners for New Japan are, because you got to quarantine, and when you want to travel home, you got to quarantine again. So it must be a lot of lonely days and nights spent in hotel rooms and whatnot. Yeah,
absolutely. I saw Gabriel Kidd put up a thing on his Instagram. It's him doing the press up challenge or whatever. Something far beyond what we not the lives we live, Ross. But he was on a beach in England somewhere, and I was thinking, oh, he's come home as well. So I don't know how many of the English speaking talent have come home, but it's a bit of a difficult time for New Japan. Don't worry though, the bad news continues to roll in because Buff Bagwell, or Marcus Bagwell, was arrested recently. This is according to a report from the Georgia Gazette, reporting that former WCW star Marcus Buff Bagwell was arrested in Cobb County, Georgia, which I didn't actually know was a real place.
Did the big boss man get in?
That's what I was just thinking, because that's where he was. I didn't know that was a real place. But this past Saturday, and Bagwell was charged with 11 different misdemeanors, including speeding, failure to yield when entering an intersection, giving false data to a law enforcement officer, hit and run, following too closely, reckless driving, driving within an emergency lane, driving under the influence of drugs, driving on the wrong side of the roadway, and others as well. Now, that's obviously a very serious situation. Hopefully, he and anybody else involved are okay. I don't know if all of those misdemeanors happened in the same incident or the same small cluster of incidents in the same sort of time or not, but it's obviously a very bad situation. Police records apparently indicate that he was bonded out on the 24th of May, and it's not too recent, but this happened last year as well, last August, where he was hospitalised with serious injuries, and it was reported by the Cobb County Police following a traffic collision again last summer. So, I mean, it sounds like he's in a bit of a bad place, really, if we just join the dots there. Hopefully he's alright.
Yeah, hopefully he's okay. I don't know what else to say here, Jack. Hopefully he gets back on the right road, and whatever happens here from here on out gets him on the straight and narrow, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite sad as well. This one made me quite sad to read, because he's one of the first wrestlers I ever remember. He's just a very early memory. I don't know, would have been on Channel 5 worldwide? WCW
Channel
World
5,
Wrestling. Yeah, and it just made me a bit sad to read that. So hopefully he's all right. And finally, in the one piece of slightly...
Is it good news, Jack?
Well, it's not, is it? It's not. But it's
worrying
not...
news, isn't it? Because do you want me to take the lead? Because I've
go
sat
on.
here,
Yeah,
I've sat here
sorry.
and said nothing.
Sorry, I've just been...
Thank
Go
you
on,
for carrying the heavy load. But a title match has been added to WWE Hell in a Cell 2021, which is happening, Jack, in June of this year.
Yes.
And not in October, because the Cell must want Halloween off or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
But Rhea Ripley will defend her Raw Women's Championship against Charlotte Flair.
No.
The opportunity gets a shot. At the opportunity, she's going to win, isn't she?
Maybe, because they're calling her the opportunity, right? Is that are they trying to make her like the game? Is that her version of that?
Yeah, she's bigger than the title. When you face Charlotte Flair, you are getting the opportunity, pal.
Now, I'm worried as well. Could they have lost interest in Rhea Ripley this quickly?
It would seem so, Jack. She's very much become one of the roster already. Bianca Belair, I think, is still standing out on SmackDown, whereas Rhea Ripley on Raw is already, for me, just one of the lasses on the roster. Not really up and on the pedestal that she should be as the new anointed champion on the scene, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think that really shows off the difference in quality between SmackDown and Raw's booking at the minute. Because I imagine if Bianca Belair was on Raw and Rhea Ripley was on SmackDown, we'd be talking about them in like the opposite way. I think Bianca would run the risk of just falling into the roster. Anyway, weird things happen on Raw this week because Charlotte just beat Asuka in a wonderful match, but what was the point of Asuka beating Charlotte then the other week? It's just 50-50 booking, but Charlotte gets a title shot off the back of it.
I don't know. I don't know when it comes to Charlotte Flair anymore. It's such a shame because we say it so many times on the channel. She is a fantastic wrestler.
Oh yeah.
But you forget that because the way she's booked, it makes you hate her. I don't know if that might be what they're looking for because she is a heel these days, but it's not the right kind of hate, is it? It's like,
no.
I'm sick of seeing you, Charlotte, pal. Go away for a bit, will you?
Yeah, it's like Triple H in the mid-2000s.
And she has just been away for a bit. This is her comeback run, so to speak. So it's a weird thing that they're doing with her. Just to try and put a silver lining on this opportunity-sized cloud, maybe they're going to have Rhea Ripley lose to get her win back at SummerSlam in front of fans. Maybe. That should have got at WrestleMania against Charlotte last year. But how many times have we said that over the course of the past year and a half?
I'm not too confident. On Rhea Ripley's side of things, she had a bit of a preparation match on Raw as well. Nikki Cross bumped into Charlotte and Rhea backstage and went, I can beat either of yous. And then Charlotte went, go away. And Rhea went, no, I'll take you on, Nikki. And then they had a 2-minute time limit beat the clock challenge match. And Nikki survived. And that was, I don't know.
Well.
So Nikki won by not getting beat in 2 minutes. It makes neither of them look good.
At least she got on TV this week. That's a good thing.
Yeah, that sassy Southern belle, Nikki Cross. Country song. Anyway, that's this news video. I think we'll probably have enough for a third one later on today as well. Whoa.
Oh, I'll just sit back and say nothing once again. It'll be fantastic.
No, stop.
Just look pretty on camera.
I didn't realise so many of the serious stories where we just had to read what had happened were in the same news video. So this was the sad one. Hopefully the next one will be a bit more light-hearted. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and we'll see you very shortly.